the two best Android smartwatches, the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 and the Google Pixel Watch. But what do they have in common? Where are the differences? And which one should we get? We will answer all of those questions in today's comparison. Alright, let's jump right into it. And the first thing that you will notice is the design. Now, the Pixel Watch has a 1.2-inch AMOLED touch display with a resolution of 450 by 450 pixel. We get one rotatable button on the side with which we can scroll through all of our apps and notifications. Now, the display is something else. It is the curviest display I've ever seen with no edges. Even the upper button is embedded into the case and only the rotatable button sticks out. This watch is water resistant up to 5 ATM, weighs in at 32 grams, and this one is compatible with iOS and Android smartphone. The display is covered with the Corning Gorilla Glass 5. You have 32 gigs of internal storage and 2 gigs of RAM. As well as the upper button either takes us to our recently opened apps, or by long pressing it, it takes us to our Google Voice Assistant. Now, the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 is a little bit different. Now, even though we have the same display size with 1.2 inches with a Super AMOLED touch display, but this one only has a resolution of 396 by 396 pixel. It has 16 gigs of internal storage and only 1.5 gigs of RAM, which you really feel when you use the watch. At some points and with some interaction, this watch can lag a little bit. As for the screen, we get a sapphire crystal glass with an aluminum frame. It is water resistant up to 5 ATM and weighs in at 29 grams. The biggest difference is the two physical buttons, which are customizable. You can either connect them to any of your apps for quicker access. You can quickly open up your Google Voice Assistant, go back to the previous page, or show all of your recently opened apps. Alright, both smartwatches have a whole lot of sport modes. Now, even though we get a few more on the Galaxy Watch, we should still have all of the common stuff covered on both of these watches. Now, when it comes to activity tracking, these two watches have two big differences. And first up, the GPS. The GPS lines of the Google Pixel Watch, they seem to be pretty precise when it comes to that, whereas the lines of the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 always cuts corners way too short. They are pretty wobbly inside of the city and only accurate out in the park or in an open space. But over on this watch, we have way more options to customize our workout displays. But here we can choose between 3 to 7 metrics that we can have displayed. So we can either only look at our heart rate, time and distance, or we can even add more metrics to that, whereas on the Google Pixel Watch, we can only have 3 metrics shown at all times. We can still change them up, but 3 is the maximum that we get, which is probably enough for most of us. But if you really dig into stats during your run, you are better off with the Galaxy Watch 5. One of the more obvious differences is the price. Now, the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 comes in at a price of $250, whereas the Google Pixel Watch costs $380. So that's a price difference of 130 euros. Plus, you only have one size with the Google Watch and you have different versions with the Samsung Galaxy Watch. Now, right here I'm rocking the Bluetooth 40mm version, but you can upgrade that to a 44mm version or the Pro version, which of course will cost a little bit more, but you have more options. Now, as well as both watches of course have LTE, so you can use them without your smartphone. Now, just right quick, some things that these two watches have in common. Now, since we have a built-in mic and a speaker, you have access to the Google Voice Assistant. Alternatively, you can also use Bixby on the Galaxy Watch, but with them you can set timers, start workouts, call friends, and simple stuff like that. On these two watches, you can also decline and answer incoming calls right on the watch as long as your smartphone is nearby. But if you have the LTE version, you don't even need that anymore. So you can talk right on the watch, switch the call over to your smartphone, adjust the volume during the call, and of course you can end the call on your smartwatch. The Pixel and the Galaxy Watch also have plenty of reply options to messages, emails and calls. So if someone calls you, you can send them a quick text that you are busy right now, or reply to messages with one of the many quick reply options. You can write your own text, send some funny emojis, or use the speak to dictate feature on the Pixel Watch. Or on the Samsung Watch, you can even send straight up voice messages via the SMS function. Now, one of the saddest things that these two watches have in common is the battery life. Both watches only last for about 1 day. Now, the Google Pixel Watch lasts for about 24 hours and the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 will last for about 28 hours. Now, it will always depend on your usage. If you are doing a lot of sport modes with the built-in GPS, if you're using this watch to call a lot and stuff like that, but that's actually what you can expect from these two watches. Now, from the saddest over to the most useful thing, the orientation feature. Like with most smartwatches nowadays, you can decide whether you want to wear your watch on the right or on your left wrist. Plus, you can change the buttons around as well, which will turn the watch face upside down. Next up, the offline music. On both, you get an app store on which you can download many apps such as YouTube Music or Spotify. And on these, you can download music right to your watch, whether if it's just a single track or even a whole playlist or podcast. Since we get twice the internal storage on the Google Pixel Watch, we get way more room to download stuff, but even 16 gigs should be more than enough for most of us. And as for the customizable watch faces, by long pressing the home screen, you can choose between many different watch face styles, and most of them are even customizable on these watches. So depending on the watch face that you are on, you can change up the background colors, colors of the numbers, change the whole style of the display, and change the display metrics, and use them afterwards as shortcuts to the actual app. So you can swap out the sleeping stats, battery life, voice assistant, phone feature, and basically all the apps that you have on your phone. Okay, I wanted to give the health features their own separate part in this video. Now, both watches of course have a heart rate tracker that will track your heart rate 24/7, but only the Samsung Galaxy Watch will alert you when you have a very high or a very low heart rate. Now, you of course also have a sleep tracker with noise detection during the night. They give you your sleeping cycles, sleep duration, and a score based on all of these stats. Plus, you get an ECG function, but on the Google Pixel Watch, it is not available in every country. And as for that, you get, of course, some stress trackers. Another thing that I'm missing on the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 is the breathing rate. But there are other things that I'm missing on the Google Pixel Watch. Things like an SpO2 tracker. We don't have a blood pressure measurement. The ECG function, at least, is not working over here in Germany, and we don't get the body composition, which is a unique feature to the Galaxy Watch. With this one, you can find out your body fat, fat mass, BMI, BMR, and a few more stats. Now, if we're trying to figure out which watch is best for us, we first have to ask ourselves, what do we need and how much money do we want to spend on a watch? Now, Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 is of course a lot cheaper, but therefore the built-in GPS is not as good as on the Google Pixel Watch. Now, if we don't need the built-in GPS, we get more customizable sport modes on the Galaxy Watch. We have way more health features, especially if we don't have the Fitbit Premium on the Google Watch. Now guys, that's all it for today. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.